Well, here it is, my secret project. You're getting ready to see it. Many people ask, why don't I show myself on the camera? Well, I'm showing wood turning. Stick around to the end, there just might be a surprise. So, you're not looking at a wood turning here. That's the neck of a guitar. Quite a few years ago, we were driving around and saw a yard sale, and this was there in the yard sale, and I thought, you know, I've always wanted to make this little project, and that's what we're going to finally do today. So when I was, I think, 15 or so years old, I saw my first Mossrite, Ventures model Mossrite, and I love the Ventures, and I still do. But I couldn't afford to buy that guitar back then for sure. I could probably buy one today, but I'd rather make one. So let me show you what we have in my plans. This is a clone of a Stratocaster. It was very inexpensive. It was free for me, so that's enough to tell me I can chop this up and do whatever I want. So my plans is to take it all apart and go ahead and take the neck off. I'm going to cut the body up, glue pieces on it, and reshape it to look like the Ventures model Mossrite. And I'm going to put brand new electronics in it that will sound quite a bit like that Mossrite. So let me get everything apart and we'll start cutting this up and see what happens. So I've taken the guitar apart, inspected the neck. I think it's going to work quite well, and I know I'm replacing the pick guard, so I've kind of filled in some spots to get a straight line. I made those templates to match the shape I want. The plan is to cut most of the body away and add wood and use those templates to get the shape. And right now I'm just confirming that I've got to cut most everything off the sides to get the shape I want. You can see now I'm going ahead and cutting that body on the original guitar, which is about to become a very custom guitar if everything works out. I'm doing it this way because it's going to take me some time to get everything done, and I don't know what I'll be doing on the next operation, so I'm just going to tell you about it as I do it. So I jointed that piece and I put it in my table saw. I can now cut that parallel, and it'll be time to glue some pieces on it. I'm running that through my thickness planer. That's the board that I will cut up and use for the new sides. So the board was a little longer. I've cut it so I can get both halves out of this board, run it through my thickness planer. It's just a little high so I can sand down into this surface. So what I have is my templates, and they go on the center line that I put here, and I transferred that center line right there. And by positioning this the best that I can get two pieces, both sides, out of that one board. And it's just a matter of sliding this up until those line up, and I'm going to bandsaw almost to the line so we can sand it. So I think we're going to get two pieces out of that width, which was pretty much how wide it was when I got it. So let's go ahead and get this marked. Gotta excuse my voice again. It just keeps doing this. I can pull that down just a little bit more. I want to make sure I don't go too far. I'm going to mark this. I'll make sure I have a nice sharp blade, and we'll cut that shape out right there. So I'm just cutting close to the line. I'll use my spindle sander and my disc sander to finish that off. That's the piece of alder that I'm using there. It's very commonly used in electric guitar bodies, and that's a brand new 3/8 8-tooth blade. I don't use this spindle sander very often, but it sure does come in handy when I need it. And it actually sits right underneath my disc sander, so it's out of the way, and I just get it out every once in a while. Speaking of the disc sander, I built that thing close to 50 years ago, and I just need to order some 14-inch discs for it. Okay, time to glue it up. And I've been asked many times what kind of glue I use. Well, this is Type Bond Original, and it'll work just fine. So this certainly is not a how-to modify or build a guitar. It's just how I did it. But if you see anything there that will inspire you and you decide you want to do it, I hope you can get something out of that. So I've thought about this for years, and now I'm finally doing it. Alright, a couple clamps and a couple days and I'll get back on this. So I cut the pieces I added on where there was less than a 30-second extra on each side. So I'm just using my sander to blend everything together. So what I'm doing right now is marking where I want to carve a new shape onto it, because that's what makes the guitar I want kind of special. It just has a different shape to the face of it. So the tool I'm using now is called a spoke shave. Probably my absolute favorite hand tool that I used at work. It's just great for putting a profile onto a corner like this, and I have many spoke shaves. So I've been having a really good time using my spoke shaves, and you're wondering, well, what is a spoke shave and what's it used for? So that's a spoke shave. It's just got handles on it, and it's got a blade that sticks down. It's got its name from back when wagons were used for transportation, and they had wooden spokes on them, and this tool was made to make those pieces of wood round into spokes. So that's why it's called a spoke shave. This is probably my all-time favorite. I just took the blade out to sharpen it. This was in my toolbox when I retired 12 years ago, and I opened it up and started shaving this with it, and actually cuts really well, but it hasn't been sharpened for at least 12 years, so I'm going to take it over and sharpen it, even though it's still pretty sharp, but we're going to get a new fresh edge on there. I'll tell you more about the rest of these while I use them. It'll probably be with a voiceover, so we don't extend this video too long, because it's going to take a while to build this guitar. Spoke shaves were pretty necessary for a wood pattern maker. Those little ones that I have right there, I got those for making the volute shape for some of the pump patterns that we made. So I'm changing the headstock because this is not the shape of the Mosrite guitars. And I've said Mosrite my whole life, but I think it's actually pronounced Mosrite. So I'm now cutting the shape for the headstock. I think it's a very cool looking headstock myself. As a side note, I'm using my 14-inch Delta bandsaw from the late 1940s. It works great. Everything's still original on it. The problem is I'm running out of room, and I just may have to part with this and keep the Rikon because it'll cut a lot thicker pieces. All sanded to 400. I put a coat of primer filler on, which is gray, and this is the white primer, which will, I think, make a smoother finish. So we're coming along pretty good, because I believe we're getting ready to put some paint on it after this. It was really hard for me to pick a color. Blue is my favorite color, but I do love the red on this guitar. Well, here it is, and I tried to show you a little bit of everything going on building this. I was just going to take photos, but I thought, well, maybe I'll take some videos of it, and I don't know, possibly put it together and post it for people to see, because I really like how it turned out. I think it looks great. So what I did show was cutting up the old guitar, and the neck came from the old guitar. That's about it, and it ran clear down through here, and this hooks up where that was at. So that's kind of like all one piece. I profiled some wood to fit over here, glued it on, shaved it like so. You saw all that. And then the headstock was had all the tuners on the one side, like a Stratocaster style wood, and that headstock right there is pretty much exactly how it was on the guitar that I fell in love with about, oh gosh, I'll just say when I was about 15. So I like that headstock almost as much as I like this shape. So that's pretty much what I did, and then I got it all sanded up, and I primered it with two different kinds of primer. One kind of fills the grain if you have it, and the other one makes it nice and flat. I used some acrylic red enamel, sprayed that on, and I went over it with some acrylic clear, and then I buffed everything out. Actually, I wet sanded everything up to the last coat of clear coat, and then I buffed it out with the car polish, real fine. This pick guard, I bought that, and it didn't look like this. It hung out here like so for a different style guitar. So I figured out what I needed. I cut that, re-beveled the edges so the black would show. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I'll give you a little closer look at the headstock here. So I like that shape. I've always liked that shape, and that's what's on the back. Because I glued wood on the headstock to make it wide enough to do that, I had a joint there, and I was going to put veneer on it, which I did. I cut some veneer out of a chunk of walnut, but then I just didn't like how it was looking. So I've seen this same style of guitar where they paint the headstock, so I painted the headstock, and I like how it turned out. Other than that, well, this came with this bridge, and that's a whammy bar. I'll need to adjust that. I'm just going to get that out of the way. That was on the original, and so is this. That's the plate that helps secure the neck. So that's what I've done. What I haven't done is plugged it in and see if it makes any sound. So maybe you'd like to hear if it does actually play or not. And maybe I'll try to play a tune or two, but I have been having troubles with this hand. A lot of cramps going on. It got injured when I was about 21 years old, and sometimes it doesn't bother me, sometimes it does. So let's get this plugged in, and we'll see if it'll make some sound. And that'll just be about the end of this video. Oh, I do have one more thing I need to show you. I wanted to show you that my thumbnail actually was not clickbait. That is a one-string guitar that I built many, many years ago. I know it was at least 40 years ago. Between 40 and 50 years ago I made that. I don't remember if it was our daughter or one of our sons. So here's, I guess I'll give you a choice. You want me to go set this up and play it, or this one right here? Alright, I'm going to go get set up and surprise you. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I don't expect everyone to watch things like this. I sure had a lot of fun doing it, and this coming Friday, it's going to be a very cool wood turning. Beautiful piece of wood. So, till the next time, see you later.